37th parallel on America's haunted highway. It's Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.
It's me already? All right, cool. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pixelated Paranormal. My name is Sean. We didn't forget where we're supposed to record and what time to record. We just been real busy, and with me, as always, is Preston. Preston, buddy, how are you?
What's up, all you cool ghosts and goblins, you crocodoons and crocodingos, you skeletors and skelettes, and witchers and witches, and whatever the fuck else you want to be. I might, got too much shit going on, I guess, man.
Yeah, dude, it's been hectic.
I need a vacation. I need a vacation from life, really. I just
yeah.
Everybody needs to fuck off.
Yeah, just for a little bit.
Yeah,
just for a little bit. I know, man. I know. We got some big shows planned, and I'm tired of just talking about it because every time it comes around, I'm like, hey, I haven't finished doing the edit, so let's just do something short and sweet like me. So that's what tonight's going to be. But yeah, my whole last week and a half of stuff was super busy. Lots of good stuff, though. Shayla graduated nursing school, and so last week was full of celebrating and parties and pinnings and graduation ceremonies, and so we're back this week with a short episode, and then next week we'll be gone as well because Shayla and I will be out of the country on vacation. And yeah, unless Preston wants to get on here and do something with himself.
Well, I mean, I could play with myself. I'm I'm okay with that. You know, I was I
work on Rumble.
Yeah. I was thinking about our anniversary show coming up and everything, and I originally remember that I always get confused on when our anniversary is, because when Jeffrey and I started dating, we had recorded episode 0, like the pilot, right? And so I always think because we started dating May 15th of 2016. And then I realized, oh no, like a week later we recorded episode 1. So do we consider like the 11th or 12th of May our anniversary, or do we look at when episode 1 originally released on iTunes and go from there? I'm a bad podcast partner because I don't know when our fucking anniversary is. It's just like being married. God damn it.
Just like a real man. I like to go off of episode 1 because episode 0 was more like, hey, let's make sure these mics that Rob sent us work.
We're going to fucking talk about giants.
Yeah, and so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, man, I call episode 1 the first official episode and the marking of our anniversary. So nonetheless, we missed it this month. We'll pick it up probably in the beginning of June. Just too much going on to try to dedicate the time to that episode. But yeah, we'll celebrate big time next month. But hey, cool, Fire Pixie, what's up? She says she's originally from Wisconsin, and that's what tonight's episode is going to be about. So that is fantastic stuff. Well, on our show, we've talked about Bigfoot, we've talked about Mothman and sheep squatch and lizard men, frog men, all sorts of different kinds of cryptids, but we've never really talked about cow men, have we? I think Preston just passed away or had a small stroke. Okay. Mhm. Ah. Okay. Preoccupied. No, you're fine. And there is, I mean, yeah, no, you're fine. I'll start over. And it's worth noting too that like in true month of May fashion, there's another giant storm rolling through. So who knows what the video is going to look like on YouTube because it's pretty much like right outside my window. But I said something to the tune of, over the course of the last 9 years, we've talked about Bigfoot, and we talked about Mothman, Dogman, Lizardmen, even Frogmen, but have we ever talked about cow men cryptids?
No, I didn't even know there was such a thing, man. I mean, I feel like
I didn't either.
this is like an adventure we need to go on. Like that's prime beef. I bet cow men make the best hamburger.
I bet they do. I bet they do.
It's,
That's right,
it's
folks. Bovines
fucking
aren't just for
aged,
mutilating in these
yeah,
parts.
fucking aged steak and butter. Like, let's go. I got my shotgun ready.
Aged steak and you're a butter guy, huh? That's what you like on your steak.
If it's aged, like age a steak in butter
Mm.
and then like scrape it
Mhm.
off and then like grill it. Yeah.
Cool. I'm not a big butter fan, but I like a good fillet. Steak's growing on me. I like to put all sorts of shit on it too, but my wife just said, "Who doesn't like butter on their steak?" I don't. It's gross,
Who the fuck doesn't like butter on their
Ugh.
pop tart?
dude.
Man.
What, butter on a Pop Tart?
Yeah.
God
You've never
damn!
had,
It's been 9 years. You
you've
should have
never
told me
had
this stuff during the vows.
yeah, you've never had butter on a pop tart?
No,
Fuck,
I'm a
man.
civilized human being.
Dude, butter on a pop tart's like fucking like cocaine off a hooker's ass. It's probably like one of the best things.
Shayla just said she's about to put butter on her apple pie too. I don't even know what the fuck's going on anymore.
Oh man.
What you do with butter is you cut it up, you put it in the microwave, make it soft, and then you throw it in the garbage. That's what I do.
Oh, you know
A
what?
little.
Next time I see you in person, I'm gonna get a Pop Tart and we're gonna put butter on it and we're gonna heat that Pop Tart up with the melted butter, and then you're gonna eat it and then a glass of milk, and you'll say, "My God, how have I not been living life this way?" So
I'll say, "My God, you are an old man."
yeah,
It's so gross. I just don't like butter that much, dude. Like when we go to the movies, if it's a place where like they scoop the butter and put the butter on for you, I will literally tell them when they say, "You want butter on your popcorn?" And I'll say, "Yeah, literally." And I mean this literally, one single solitary squirt of butter on the top. It's all I want.
the
And if he
devil
puts
do you.
two on there, I will call them out and say, "That was more than one, that was two." Ugh. Mm-mm-mm. Well, that's enough talking about food and steak and everything else. We're going to get
Yeah.
to the Bosak Humanoid encounter here in a little while. But I've got some really, really fun news to talk about. So first of all, in Clinton, Maine, apparently a tractor trailer hauling 15 million honeybees overturned on Interstate 95 just a few days ago. Now, you're going to ask yourself, what the hell are you doing with 15 million honeybees? Well, apparently they were used to pollinate blueberry fields.
Yeah.
Anyway, the driver was taken to the hospital as a precaution Thursday night, while first responders worked to ensure the safety of the bees that were in their hives strapped inside the trailer, which landed on its side. Now, the bees were mostly contained, and so the goal was to save them, and that way they could go ahead and continue living on their little happy little bee lives. But first responders didn't know initially the cargo was in fact live bees until firefighters went down an embankment to check for leaking fluids, and they learned the hard way. Apparently, these guys got stung quite a bit. Everybody got stung at least a couple times, and a few people suffered a couple minor reactions. All in all, though, the majority of the bees were recovered healthy and happy, and the firefighters are all doing well. The temperatures were in their 40s, so that might have kept the bees from getting too rowdy during the several hours it took to get the truck turned upright and removed by a tow truck. Then a beekeeper was summoned to corral the bees into safety. The truckload of bees was headed to Washington County, which was a center of the state's wild blueberry industry. Bees are routinely trucked into that region to pollinate blueberry berries every single spring.
You know,
And
I have
presto, we know, of course. Good.
Oh, I was gonna say my bee story with Dad. Did I ever tell you that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have, but go ahead, man. In the spirit of Big John Wiener, go ahead and tell me again.
So I was probably 8 or 9 at the time, and Jason was in high school, and we had this like really shitty rust bucket Datsun pickup truck. And one of the neighbors by the back of the property was spraying, and so we had to move the beehive. So Dad used to raise bees and like sell the honey or whatever, and so we're loading like these 8 or 9 beehives up in the back of this pickup truck bed. And Dad was telling Jason to go go slow, and Jason like hit a couple potholes and literally like tipped over all the beehives on top of Dad. He got stung over 1 million times, and so we threw him in the back. We threw him in the back of the Bronco. and
Just all swollen.
yeah, we raced over to the hospital at the time. Augusta had its own little hospital over by the lake, and so we ran over to the hospital, and they were like, "Oh shit, like this guy's about dead. Like we don't know what to do for him because he's got so many bee stings." And so Dad's like going into like shock and like throwing up all over the place. And told them, the nurses, to give me a wash rag with rubbing alcohol, and he wouldn't let anybody touch him but me, and I had to sit there and basically wash this dying man's body with rubbing alcohol, and it closed up all of his pores and pushed the bee stingers out, and they were able to save his life. So fuck you, Jason. That's
Very
the
cool.
second time that you almost killed Dad. Yeah, my mic was muted. I realized that, and I muted it so
Oh,
they
you
can hear me
idiot.
now. Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Oh, fair. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff. And I
So-
see old Blake's watching. What's up, Blake?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good stuff, man. Big John Wiener, may he rest in power. Up next, speaking of childhood, Preston, usually when a young kid claims that there's a monster in their closet in the dead of night, it's fair to assume it's nothing more than the case of an overactive imagination. And this was certainly the first thing that the parents of this 3-year-old girl thought when she began complaining of the monsters inside of her walls in her bedroom in Charlotte, North Carolina. Her parents said we even gave her a bottle of water and said it was monster spray so she could spray away any of the monsters that she saw at night. But as time went on, the young girl continued to express concern over the next several days about the monsters in her closet and the monsters inside of her walls. So suddenly her mom thought maybe, just maybe, she's not making this up.
Maybe I should
Suddenly, it
stop being a
wasn't
bad
long.
parent and listen to my kid.
Right? And it wasn't too long before the truth became apparent to her parents. The monsters inside the 3-year-old's room, hiding in the closets and the walls that she'd been hearing at night, were in fact, Preston, you guessed it, bringing it all together, honeybees. 60,000 honeybees that had set up a huge hive behind her bedroom wall. A beekeeper showed up and investigated the situation and found the hive stretched down the wall that appeared to have been active for more than 8 months. It took 3 separate extractions to remove the entire hive and the occupants. In total, 60,000 bees and 40 kg of honeycomb was removed from the house. The bees have also managed to cause somewhere around $20,000 worth of damage to the property. Oh well, could have been worse. Could have been my girl,
Could've been
right?
worse. Blake, there's not a monster under your bed. Those are dirty fucking clothes. Go fucking clean
Dude.
your room, scrub. Jesus.
Yes,
Christ.
put your sticky
Yeah.
socks somewhere else, buddy.
Yeah.
Gross.
Fucking kid.
Well, Preston, go ahead and get the first photo ready to throw up there for me, because the next story, it's not every day that you discover a mysterious inscription on your own garden. But that's exactly what happened recently. What?
Is this the like the one and only one you told me to download?
I told you to download 2.
Oh, well, we're gonna hide
One of them
that
is like
one.
a stone tablet with hieroglyphs.
Yeah, I didn't download that one.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by the 2.
Yeah.
Oh, all good, all good. It's not every day that you discover a mysterious inscription found in your own garden, but this is exactly what happened when John Adams of Shropshire, England, lifted up one of his patio stones and found several lines of indecipherable text inscribed underneath. Curious to know what it said. Oh, hold on, Amber Alert. Uh-oh. Hold on a second, guys. Did that pop up on your phone too? And everybody else's phone who's watching? 15-year-old Marshila Lewis Delacruz wearing a black shirt, blue jeans, pink flip-flop, 5 foot 2 inches, 120 pounds, driving in a 07 Chevy Tahoe, Texas tag TTJ8135, last seen traveling west from 530 South New York Avenue in Liberal, Kansas, down Highway 54. Yeesh.
Yeesh.
Indeed. Well, that's what happened in Shropshire, England, when he lifted up one of his patio stones and found several lines of indecipherable text underneath. Curious to know what it said, he posted a photograph of the writing on social media. He said, "It's obviously significant to the person who wrote it because they spent a lot of time and effort to write something and quite a few words. The property itself is situated on what once was a well-frequently traveled route, so it's quite possible the stone had been some kind of landmark of some kind. The house itself was also recently an inn, and it was also a pub, so maybe written somewhere, somehow, by somebody passing there while staying was an old note to an old friend. It was laid on a bed of lime mortar, so it's old mortar. It's not been done recently, and it's on local stone. Norbury stone is easily identifiable because of the type of fossils that are within it. Some people have suggested the writing could be in Hebrew, although he has yet to have it confirmed. He did say it has to have some kind of meaning. I think fundamentally it has to have a meaning. It's not just some random piece of graffiti. It's meant something to somebody. And on his tweet that he posted, man, that's why I love Twitter still.
It looks Hebrew.
He had...
I mean...
It kind of, maybe, right? He said, lifted an old stone slab this week and found this on the reverse side. The house has been around for 300 plus years, so this could date back to the 17th century. Any ideas what the writing says? There is an area in the middle that has spalled, meaning kind of like worn off a little bit. But yeah, still cool all of a sudden.
You know, there years ago, there the church in Ethiopia were like, they're from like Jewish descent, and they're like, you're fucking African, you're not from Jewish descent, get out of here. And then they did like DNA tests, and holy fuck, like they're like 30% Jewish. And so I'm just saying, ancient Hebrews got around, man. They were like the fucking Vikings. They got in boats. They went all over the place. There's fucking like tribal people in Brazil that got some Hebrew DNA in them. So, I mean, who's to say that like 1500s, there wasn't some rabbi like toking around England and like wrote some shit on a brick.
Yeah. Well, who knows, man? Well, Preston, I'm not sure where you went to grade school at, but apparently you and I went to the wrong schools, because up next, here's a story. Students and teachers alike couldn't quite believe what they were seeing last Wednesday when an apparent Sasquatch made an appearance outside the school building. Covered from head to toe in thick brown hair, the unexpected visitor attracted a great deal of attention as it ran past classroom windows. That's right, folks, the school was shut down because apparently there was a Bigfoot in the playground. Its presence prompted school authorities to lock down the area, and the students were ushered inside that were outdoors playing. According to the Fireland Superintendent Michael von Guten, Bigfoot had left its vehicle in one of the nearby parking lots before crossing the campus grounds. The school day was negatively...
Fuck.
Yeah, I know, right?
Usually he gets hit by the cars, not drive the cars.
Right, yeah. No, not now, dude. Harry and the Hendersons, too. The school day was negatively impacted, and although lockdown drills were practiced regularly, the situation caused an understandable concern and disruption. While some people may make light of the situation, the fact remains that we cannot waver from the side of safety. The individual induced panic in our campus, and this type of behavior will not be left untolerated. It later transpired the hairy visitor, in fact, had been a parent of one of the students who had decided to dress up as Bigfoot as part of a larger prank. School officials were evidently not too amused by the stunt, but students found it hilarious. Several of them even recorded the incident, posting it to their Facebook.
Man, there you go.
Bummer. You know, the best we had is my dad used to dress up as Santa Claus, which is still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, on to our main story of the episode, folks. Preston, you can go ahead and post up that photo whenever you're... Oh, actually, hold on. Wait, don't post it up yet. I'll tell you. It's already up?
No, I took it back. I mean, it looks like a dollar store Dobby from Harry Potter. Like,
it really does. It really does.
Yeah.
Except for this thing came out like, I don't know, 40 years before Dobby. Maybe 30 years before Dobby. Anyway, let's jump in the Wayback Machine. Well, back in the winter of 1974, during an already cold evening on a lonely stretch of country road, a Wisconsin dairy farmer...
Bigfoot would drive a fucking station wagon, like a Buick station wagon from the 80s. Fuck yeah, that's what he would drive.
You think so? I could picture him like... Yeah, that sounds about right. Wood paneling on the sides, right?
Yeah, wood paneling on the sides. That's
okay.
Fucking Bigfoot. Yeah. That's got Squatch written all over it, man.
I could dig on that. Yeah,
he's just got some like dead human bodies up on the rack. The luggage rack is like
instead of surfboards, he's got carcasses.
Yeah. The ones I
Nice.
hit. The ones that try to get away.
Back in the winter of 1974, during an already cold evening on a lonely stretch of country road, a Wisconsin dairy farmer would have an unexplainable encounter. Bone chill. Jeez, let me start over here. Hold on, let me get a drink. Take 3. Back in the winter of 1974, during an already cold evening, on a lonely stretch of country road, a Wisconsin dairy farmer would have an unexplainable and bone-chilling encounter with a bizarre creature of which the likes he himself had never seen before. On the evening of December 2nd, 1974, right around 10 p.m., a 68-year-old dairy farmer who went by the name of William Bosak was out driving in the dense countryside on his way home from a co-op meeting in the rural area of Frederick, Wisconsin. Now, William was a down-to-earth old-timer who didn't really delve too far into the fantastical and the make-believe because he didn't have time for that kind of shit. He was too busy farming in a 450-acre property that he'd owned for the better part of 4 decades. And otherwise, when he wasn't farming, he was taking care of his family. So he wasn't the kind of guy who's watching classic monster movies or even reading the funny books. But on that fateful evening, as William was cautiously driving his way down the long country roads, he suddenly encountered several patches of low-hanging fog that seemed to almost envelop the rural roadways, making it nearly impossible to see where he was going, let alone where he even was. But around what he assumed to be a mile or so away from his home, right around 10:30 p.m., on that same fateful night, Bosak said he was suddenly jolted when his headlights fell upon what he describes as a conical, capsule-shaped object, inexplicably hovering a few feet above the ground, just a little ways off in the distance, off the side of the road. So cautiously, Bosak slowed down his vehicle, almost to a crawl, to see if maybe he can get a better look through the fog at whatever this strange thing was hovering, just to figure out if it might have been a trick of the fog or whether or not he was seeing something truly from out of this world.
Real quick, shout
all.
out to NV Love over on Kick. Just messaged us that just started following you. God bless. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate the
nice.
follow
Oh, yeah.
on Kick. You know, now we're
Yeah,
up to
fuck
like
yeah,
9 or
dude.
10, 9 and 10 or a kick. I don't know. It's eventually gonna kick off.
Ooh, I like what you did there. Well, after all, it's not normal to see some kind of weird bullet-shaped craft just hovering several feet off the edge of the road, is it? Well, Bosak said that he had to admit that when he got closer, the lower portion of the machine was still partially covered by thick fog, so he couldn't be 100% positive that the thing wasn't simply sitting on top of some kind of landing gear, but it definitely gave off the impression, at least, that this weird object was floating. And now he couldn't tell exactly how big the craft was, but he guessed about 10 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. Anyway, Bosak brought his car to a full stop, and he noticed that the front of the object had a window made of curved glass, exposing a brightly illuminated interior, kind of like a cockpit. But even better still, much to his curiosity and then to his utter horror, inside that same cockpit, he noticed a creature that logic simply couldn't explain. Preston, toss up that beautiful bean footage.
There it is.
I can remember it just as if it were yesterday.
Fucking
It was a
dollar
little
store
taller than a tall
dog.
man. I could see a figure with its arms raised above its head. He was looking out the window, and it was a different kind of character than you'd see on this earth. It looked a good deal like a man, but it had a different looking face. It had a kind of cow-looking face. Being covered in dark tan fur except for its face and its chin, it had a square face with hair sticking straight out from the sides. The ears stuck out from the head about 3 inches, and the eyes were large and protruding, and its ears were almost like a calf.
So
Now,
it
some
just had
people
cow
suggest
ears. It
the-
didn't have a cow face. So it was just a
No, you said it had
a goofy looking alien with big ears. That's what you saw, dog. That's what
He
fucking
literally said it looked a good deal
Wisconsin
like...
cow. Did it have fucking cow spots on it? Or was it like black and white or like brown and white? No, it just like it had big eyes. So the only thing I can compare it to is a fucking cow, which I see day in and day out. Fucking big old cow ears. It's an alien.
He also
dog.
said, if you were listening, it had a kind of cow-looking face. That's what
I
he
don't
means
know.
by cow.
I
It
don't
had a
know.
kind of cow-looking face.
Dude, look at that
God
photo.
damn.
Do you see a cow looking face on there? No.
I kind of do.
Oh, that's a stretch of the
Jesus.
imagination right there.
It had a cow-looking face, and the ears were like a calf. In my head, alarm bells are going off. It's a fucking cow man.
This thing looks like Dobby with mutton chops. Look at that photo, dude.
It's the Dobby who grew up listening to the Ace of Spades and Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Anyway, this cow-faced, calf-eared creature. Some people suggest the fur wasn't actually attached to the creature, but possibly had been woven into some kind of skin-tight fabric of a tannish brown suit clinging to the creature's torso. But something that was almost more impressive even than how bizarre the creature really was that William said that when their eyes met, it appeared to him like the creature had a look of sheer panic on his face, with eyes full of fright. He said, it was just as scared of me as I was of it.
Shit, this motherfucker's going to try to milk me. It thinks I'm a cow.
Did you catch my pun earlier? I said to his utter surprise.
Yes.
Hopefully
very
somebody
nice.
got that. Good stuff, good stuff. Well, anyway, these two locked eyes for a little while, and then the confined creature just looked really panicked to him, like, oh shit, threw its hands up like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, please don't hurt me. The moment that they locked eyes seemed to last forever for the farmer. Minutes seemed to stretch into hours, hours into days. But when the shock of the encounter finally wore off, he blinked and suddenly found himself overcome with fright. So, in a state of sheer panic, Bosak slammed his foot down on the accelerator and noped the fuck out of there, speeding all the way home away from the bizarre bovine beast floating inside that metallic bullet-shaped craft. But just as though he thought he had left the object and gotten to safe distance, Bosak noticed that the light inside his car inexplicably started to grow darker, as if suddenly he was surrounded by some kind of blanket of shadows. And then the sound in his engine began to fade as a beam of his headlights dimmed. It was then that Bosak heard this sort of whoosh sound, followed by a scraping noise, unlike branches scratching against the roof of his car. The justifiably terrified senior just pushed the pedal closer to the floor, and somehow, safety be damned, he barreled through the wispy fog until he reached the shelter of his own personal property. Once back at his house, Bosak managed to calm himself down a little bit, and from this higher vantage point, he gazed down where the creature and the bullet-shaped craft were sitting, but he was unable to see anything through the pea soup-like fog. But Bosak, no doubt fearing for his own reputation and, some say his own life, decided not to share the story with anybody else, not even his wife or his son. He said, I was so gall-darn scared, I was afraid to go out at night for several days after. Well, anyway, the next morning, Bosak ignored his wagon load of duties at the farm and immediately returned back to the location of the encounter. Needless to say, in the light of day, the object and the so-called bovine human were nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, the only evidence he had of the encounter was a circular path of flattened grass about 6 feet in diameter below where he estimated the craft had been floating. William managed to keep his silence for over 3 weeks, but eventually he confided in his wife and his son both about what he encountered that fateful night. He told them both that more time that elapsed since the incident, he began to feel more confident that he regretted his actions. Feeling as though he should have stayed there and attempted to communicate with this strange bovine creature. I wish that somebody had been in the car with me at the time. I should have stopped and tried to show it I was friendly. I wish I could meet up with it again.
Fuck, I wish I was in the car with you, buddy, so I could say it's not a fucking cow person, man.
That's all you care about. Fuck this alien. It's not a cow.
Yeah.
It's a dollar store Mac and me. Whether or not it turned out that his family was unable to keep the secret or not, the tale began to spread like wildfire, and it didn't take too long for the story of his run-in with a cow-like creature to spread across Polk County. Soon after that, the incident appeared in the St. Paul Pioneer Press. Following the exposure, Bosak was approached by Everett E. Leiter and Dewey Bersheard, and field investigators from Wisconsin based out of the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, also known as APRO, a UFO research group funded by the legendary UFO investigators Jim and Coral Lorenzen. William told the investigators that the illustration that he had published in the St. Paul Pioneer Press was essentially accurate, but the ears of the entity were located higher up on top of its head. Leiter and Bersheard conducted extensive interviews with Bosak and his family and friends and neighbors, who all expressed that despite the implausible aspects of this encounter and the story that William told, he was an honest man with an excellent reputation around the community. Considering just how strange this encounter was, Bosak understood the skepticism by his neighbors and local reporters, but he insisted that no matter how strange the story was, it was God's honest truth that he had indeed encountered a strange creature in a bizarre-shaped craft. You know how neighbors are. They questioned it. The editor in town didn't believe it, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be skeptical, especially after hearing what happened to me. But if people don't believe me, I'll take a lie detector test to prove this isn't something I made up. There are other people that had seen something like that right in this same area. But who those people were never came forward. William Bosak was the only person to report the strange encounter with the calf-eared, bovine-faced creature that he encountered on December 2nd of 1974. Now, as an odd little epilogue to this tale, strangely enough, on December 2nd, 1996, exactly 22 years after his encounter, William Bosak was found dead in his home. And I don't have any follow-up to that. All I could find is he was found dead. So it could have been natural causes. Could have been the Men in Black. Could have been that weird guy from No Country for Old Men that goes around. Javier Bardem with a little thing and just like zaps him in the forehead to kill cows. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Oh.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, there you go. That's the story of the Bosak humanoid encounter.
Wow. Wow.
Now, I tried going deeper and finding more, bovine cryptids, and I couldn't find much. There's a lot of stuff, from Japan and Asian cultures about, like, mountain gods and stuff like that, but otherwise I couldn't find anything else out. So this could be the only bovine cryptid that we've discovered so far.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all I got, folks. We'll be back with some longer episodes here in a couple weeks. Like I say, next week we'll be MIA again, but back after that. So if you want to, in the meantime, check us out on the social medias. We are PXL Paranormal on Instagram, the Pixelated Paranormal Podcast over on Facebook. Preston, you got anything on YouTube for me?
Man, I think we're still at like 312. Let's check real quick. Am I right? Finally,
you're right, man.
Oh my God, I finally got a fact right without looking something up. So look, if you're watching over on YouTube, share, with all your friends, like and subscribe. Help us grow that content. We're up to 26 subscribers on Rumble. We just got one new viewer over on Kick. Twitch, I don't know. Might be a thing, might not be a thing. So, wherever it is that you want to watch us live, just, dude, like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. That's all I got. And look, if you have fucking mutton chops that look like you're left over from, like, the Civil War period and people are confusing you with a crusty cow alien, maybe go do yourself a favor and go over to BigDobsBeardBomb.com and use promo code PXLPARA for 20% off your order. And pick yourself up some scents like bay rum, fresh, citrus, mint, classic, sweet tobacco, or the new one, which I like, Spartan. Put it on your face. Tame those chops. Don't look like a crusty cow. Get it all. Get it at Dobbs.
Gross, a crusty cow.
Yeah.
Yucky patooey. Hell yeah, good stuff. If you're in the Wichita area, stop by, see Leslie and the rest of the gang over at CD Trade Post, Pawnee and Seneca. check out Paranormal Experience, the food truck, and paranormal.cafe. And then parting thoughts, we still have plans to do this War of the Worlds reenactment, so we definitely want you guys to reach out, shoot us a PM, DM, email, whatever. Let us know if you're interested in reading a part, and then we'll gather up a bunch of voices from everybody and throw together our own little version of the War of the Worlds sometime late this summer. So there's no hurry. Just let us know if you're interested.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to reach out to the usual suspects anyway, so if we don't hear from you, you can expect us to knock on your door.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to raise a little bit of this Texas pecan bourbon and say cheers to the weird shit in the world, and those of us love to talk about it.
And stay spooky and stay on the paranormal highway. And Lazarus, we're so glad that you could join us at the end. So you're welcome.
Oh,
And
sorry, buddy. We jumped in gorilla style.
And we are assholes. You are correct, sir.
This is last minute. Sorry, buddy. Hugs and kisses.
The cast at Pixelated Paranormal would like to thank you for listening to this week's episode. Pixelated Paranormal is here to tell you tales of the fantastical, the strange, the unknown. Tales that will move you a little further down the paranormal highway. If you'd like to share your own listener story, we would love to hear it. Email us at pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. Again, that's pixelatedparanormal@gmail.com. We'd really love to hear from you. Again, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Pixelated Paranormal, your guide to the unusual and the strange.